I am here with Jen Wagner, known as Jen's Journey on social media. Jen is someone with so much to share on what we think of health because she's experienced and overcome a few different battles when it comes to her own health, from losing 100 pounds to overcoming a brain tumor to just trying to live her best and healthiest life for the sake of her family. It's no wonder that Jen now inspires 113,000 followers on Instagram as they navigate their own health and fitness journeys. So Jen, welcome. So excited to have you.
I am so excited to be here.
We, for anyone who's listening to this and can't see us on video, we have matching microphones, which we're really excited about.
We planned it, totally planned it.
Totally planned it. So you just have such a incredible story, and you have two parts, what I think of, to your overall journey, which is one, like the weight loss that you went through, and then of course the brain tumor that you overcame. But so
Yeah.
let's go back to like the very, very beginning and talk about the weight loss. So what were you kind of like? That was back in 2018, I think, right? So
Yeah.
what were you experiencing sort of like emotionally and physically leading up to the moment that made you say, yeah, I want to make a change?
So it was February of 2018. And for the 7 years prior, I had slowly gained weight, which was a new thing for me. I was an athlete my whole life, never been overweight my whole life, didn't have to work hard at not being overweight because I was just active. But then I got married and got really sedentary and comfortable and gained 100 pounds over the course of just 4 years, I think. And it finally, I was so large for myself. I had never seen myself like that. And I felt awful. I was 28 years old, but I felt like I was 60. I was on multiple medications, couldn't play with my daughter for more than 30 seconds at a time without being out of breath. And so I had tried all the easy ways for the 7 years prior to lose the weight, the shake systems, every fad that came out, I tried because I was trying to do it the easy way. That's what they promote. This is easy. Anybody can do it.
Right.
And when you want to accomplish something like being healthy, it's not supposed to be easy. If it was super easy, everybody would do it. So it was finally at the end of 7 years of trying all the easy way out to lose weight. I was just like, you're gonna have to actually work at this. You're gonna have to do this. You have a daughter now who stares at you when you're eating an entire pack of Oreos, and she's gonna think that's okay. She's gonna think it's fine to eat like that. So the one day that I caught my daughter just staring at me while I was just Oreo after Oreo, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's learning this from me. And this is what she's gonna learn from me. I couldn't stomach the thought of her thinking that was okay for her health. So that was really what kicked it into high gear for me and made it stick this time that like I got to do this.
That is such a amazing like aha moment that you had where it was for the sake of somebody else and not you, which is like it's totally fine if our health journeys come from like a place of within and being like I need to do this for me, but it's cool that you were like, oh, I have to set an example for my daughter because I don't want her to develop the same habits or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so how did you tackle losing the weight from there? Like, as you said, you tried all the other quick fixes and stuff. So what was the strategy that you approached to really do
So
it for the long haul?
by that point, I knew I had a severe addiction to carbs and sugar, like a
Mm,
true addiction. Had them every single day in excess every day. Felt horrible if I didn't have them. Felt horrible after I had them. It was just I was truly addicted. So I kind of just went the cold turkey route, like when smokers go cold turkey instead of trying to wean off. I was addicted. There was no weaning. I couldn't just let myself have a serving size and be like, okay, I'm done. That wasn't an option because if I had
mm.
one, I would just keep going until I couldn't stomach anymore. So the only way in my head at that time for me to be successful was to completely cut it out. And that's very controversial these days. Everybody says, you don't need to cut out entire food groups. That's great for people who can do that, who maybe aren't addicted to sugar, but I was truly addicted. I couldn't just have a little bit. So I cut out sugar completely. And I went very, very low carb. Keto was getting really popular back then. I dabbled in that for a few weeks and there was just too many rules, too many ingredients I couldn't have. It was too much. I could feel that if I tried to keep up with that, I was going to get overwhelmed. So I just went super simple. If it had sugar, you don't eat it, and stay under 20 net carbs a day and drink water. That was what I did for the first 4 months, 5 months of my journey. Just low carb, no sugar, drink water.
And was that working for you? Like, did you start to see weight come off?
I did. It came off pretty quickly. Because at the time, like I said, I wasn't tracking calories. I was just tracking net carbs and sugar. Keep it simple. These are
Yeah.
the rules. This clear cut stuff you can have, clear cut stuff you can't have. And I didn't know it at the time, but of course that had chopped my calories down way,
Yeah.
way, way less than I had been eating. So I lost 30 pounds really quickly. And I think at the end of 4 months, I was down almost 50 pounds just doing that, just getting the sugar and the carbs out of my system, not having the cravings anymore. And it worked great. Like the first few weeks, of course, were hard. They were really hard, but once I got it all out of my system, I was no longer like, I need chocolate. I didn't
Mm.
have those feelings anymore.
Yeah, the sugar component is so interesting because you can get really addicted to it. And I think I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, that the conversation around sugar and added sugars and how much added sugars in so many foods that we eat that we don't realize, I feel like that's become very big lately in like the nutrition world, like things I just see. People are constantly talking now about sugar and just like the addictive qualities it has and how we just don't realize
Yeah.
that we're eating so much. Like I had to start looking at like a lot of nutrition labels on food when
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out like food allergies, and I was working through stuff with a nutritionist for that. And I was like, oh my God, there's sugar in everything. And it's
Everything.
hard to get it to lower levels.
Yeah, and so I did notice that that's become a huge topic lately, and so everyone's like, "So how do you just eat no sugar? It's impossible." It pretty much is impossible, but like
Yeah.
you, I had to start looking at nutrition labels, and I found what worked for me was if a serving of that food showed 1 gram or less, because almost everything showed at least 1 gram, it's safe.
Hmm.
Anything 2, 3 grams over per serving, nope, can't have it. But if it said 1 gram of sugar per serving or less, it was fine because that's
Yeah.
pretty minimal compared to what I was eating. So it was very hard, but it's not impossible. You just have to look at the nutrition label on everything.
Right. And then there's like good sugar and bad sugar where like if you're eating fruit, that's pretty good for you. Like no one can
Yeah.
knock
Yeah,
fruits. You're like the sugar and fruit's fine, but
that's a part that's a little controversial with me because I was so addicted, I even cut out fruit. And people hear that
yeah.
and they're like, "What? No, it's healthy for you." Yes, it is. Not in excess like everything else. Like
Yeah.
if I would have allowed myself fruit, it would have been the only sugar I was getting. I would have ate my weight in it, which is still better than eating your weight in chocolate.
Yeah.
But I needed to get the cravings out. So I even cut out fruit, which was horrible.
I totally understand that. There's so much science. We should bring in an expert to talk with us just about sugar, but there's so much science around the addictive qualities of it. And so I think if you really needed that like full detox to help yourself say like I can't be addicted to this anymore, I'm sure that's not like that terrible of an approach to take. And now you're eating it again, so it's like
Yes, yes.
it's not like you cut out fruit for your
N-
entire
No,
life.
nope. Now I don't cut out anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you did this keto approach, you were reducing carbs and sugar, and then it's, it seems as if that wasn't like sustainable for you long term either. So you like did it with this goal to like feel less addicted to these types of foods.
Yeah.
So then what did you do from there once you wanted to
So I
change
did
that?
that for 9 months and I could feel and I truly enjoyed my journey. Like that was the big difference. I actually enjoyed it this time and that's why I was successful. But around 9 months I was down 80 pounds. I had 20 pounds to go until my goal weight and I was like, I don't really like the foods that I have left anymore. I was getting bored of the same foods. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I was like, we got to change something, because if we go back to hating this, it's going to come back. We're going to start eating terrible. So that's when I decided to make the change from eating low carb to calorie counting, because I wanted to reincorporate everything that I had cut out from before. I didn't want to eat low carb forever. I love carbs. I love macaroni and cheese. Like,
Me
I
too.
didn't want to eat that way forever. So I was like, okay, now we're going to learn how to calorie count, because I had the cravings out of my system. Obviously, my stomach had gotten smaller. I wouldn't be able to eat as much as before. It just seemed like a really good turning point for me to be able to introduce the foods back into my diet, because I could trust myself a little bit more, that I wasn't just going to go crazy. So, yeah, 9 months in, I transitioned to calorie counting and taught myself proper serving sizes and stuff, which that was eye-opening, weighing food and seeing what an actual serving size was and what I thought a serving size was. So I transitioned to that and was still successfully losing. Everyone gets so scared when they decide to reintroduce carbs back into their diet. And I'm living proof you don't have to be scared. Weight loss is calorie deficit. Like, you can eat carbs and still lose weight. So I had the control. I was able to reintroduce all the fruit back into my diet. I was able to reintroduce, chocolate, like have a piece of chocolate and it's fine. And I finished my weight loss journey just calorie counting over the next few months.
That's amazing that you were able to find that balance and have like such a healthy mindset about it. I like the fear, I think the fear of food and specific types of foods is such a thing that we like are still figuring out in the world, and like
Yeah.
as we go on our own health and fitness journeys. And yeah, like there's you feel such shame around eating a bowl of pasta,
Yes.
but like you shouldn't. It's
Yes.
it's all like it's just all in balance if you can figure it
Yeah.
out. Yeah. And so were there things that you were doing um to try and like find some of that balance for you, or once you switch to the calorie counting were you like, okay, I know that this will reintroduce some foods I previously felt afraid of, but I'm okay with it and I will just like take it one day at a time and see what happens.
Yeah. So the second part of what you said is what I got to after the first few weeks, because of course, when you're working so hard to lose weight and you've lost 80, like, you don't want to backtrack. And
Mm,
that's always what kept me motivated, was the progress that I was making. You work so hard to do that. You don't want to go backwards, and that keeps you from messing up. So, um I was scared right at the beginning when I made the switch. I was like, I'm definitely 100% going to gain weight putting carbs back into my diet, because I didn't understand calorie deficit then. I knew nothing about calories. I had kept it simple, just carbs and sugar. So I was scared at the beginning. But the first week, like, back eating carbs, I was worried I was going to feel sick. I was going to feel terrible. I didn't. I just, probably because I was eating a normal amount, whereas before I would have just over excess everything.
mhm.
So I was scared the first week. And then when I saw 2 or 3 weeks in, like, oh, you still lost a pound this week. Like, so after the first couple weeks, when I was still seeing progress and I was enjoying fruit again, and even like little treats, like some Chips Ahoy cookies, just two at a time, and I could eat two and I was totally fine. Like, there was nothing went off in my brain that was like, keep going, Jenny. Like, keep eating. All of that was gone. And then that's when I knew, about 3 weeks in, I was like, we're going to be fine. We get to enjoy watermelon again, cantaloupe. We can have cookies. Like, this is awesome. We're still making progress. That's when it really hit me. Like, you can totally enjoy everything in moderation and still be healthy and lose weight.
Yeah. And is there something that you would say to someone who's trying to figure this out for themselves now and try to get over a fear of food like you had, what like whether it's carbs or whatever it is?
It's so hard to give general advice on that, because everyone is so different. What worked for me won't work for everyone. There are some
Mhm.
people who can't cut out carbs completely, and that's fine. There are some people who refuse to weigh and measure their food. That's fine too. So I just think it's a trial and error process. You have to just keep trying things. Like, if you start something, you absolutely hate it, Okay, do it for a couple of weeks. You got to give it more than a few days. Do it for a couple of weeks. If you hate it or it's not working, do more research, find something else, try something else. You will, as long as you keep trying and you don't just give up completely because the first two things you try don't work out, you will find what works for you, but you have to give it time, and you can't just give it a few days or a week. It takes time to create a habit and build a routine. So don't think of it as wasting time if you start one method of trying to lose weight and you do it for a month, and at the end of the month you haven't lost anything, you don't enjoy it. Okay, try something else. You didn't lose that time. You're still training your brain to think better and think healthier. So it's a total trial and error process. Just don't give up until you find the thing that's easy and comfortable.
That is great advice. I feel like I personally selfishly needed to hear that where I've been like working out a ton, like everyone listening to this podcast will know that I've been talking about that. And like I like hit a point recently where I was like, oh, I don't feel like I like see results. Like, but I feel amazing, which is awesome. Like I'm getting the emotional benefits out of like I
Yeah.
set a routine. I'm feeling stronger. That's really cool. But then there's the whole like, the other side of it where you're like, well, I wish I could like physically see it as well.
Yeah.
And you get so like let down. But then I realized this like kind of now as you were saying this to me, where I looked back on the past few months where I've worked to establish this routine and I'm like working out. And I was like, oh, but like I'm still doing something really good for my body. And I've
Yeah.
been like building this habit, which is I was never able to stick to something like this before. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. So that's good that it's not wasted time. You're just figuring out
No,
like what works
yeah.
for you. That's great advice. So okay. So you went through this weight loss journey and then in 2020 you were diagnosed with a brain tumor and I want to talk about that. But prior to you being diagnosed with your brain tumor, had you lost all the weight you wanted to lose? Like, were you feeling really good in life? And then you were sort of like surprised by this other like hurdle you had to overcome, or were they still happening in tandem?
So when I hit my weight loss goal and thought I was where I wanted to be, it took a year, and so I hit it. I was feeling great, and then had the surgery to remove all the excess skin,
Yep.
because I wanted to be able to see the results of my hard work. And so I had that surgery and was still feeling great. And one of the health problems that I had struggled with prior to losing the weight was high blood pressure. I hated it. I hated that I was 28 years old and had like chronic high blood pressure. And so with the weight loss, doctors were like, it will go down, get healthy, and your blood pressure will regulate. And it did for a little while. So then when I had a checkup, I think a month or two after I had hit my goal weight, my blood pressure was back up. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, I did what I was supposed to do. I did all this work. Why is it still high? And so at that point, my doctor was like, it runs on both sides of your families. Both sides of your family. It's just in your genes, in your blood. Some people just have high blood pressure, no matter how healthy they are or not. I was so mad. I dwelled on that for a few weeks because it was just one of the things that I was so excited to check off my box of things that aren't wrong with me anymore. So we couldn't figure it out. I had to remain on high blood pressure medicine, a lower dose, which was progress, but I still had to be on stuff. And that eventually led to us kind of finding the brain tumor. I started having vision problems after I was exercising. And the night before my 31st birthday, I had a big absence seizure. And at the time, we had no idea what it was. And went to my primary, told him what was going on. He then sent me to the neurologist and he was like, well, let's get an MRI just to check. I'm not saying you have a brain tumor, but let's just check just in case.
Mm,
And the crazy thing is, I kind of knew in my gut that I did. Like, I don't know if people talk about like mom gut, your kid is sick before they actually get sick. Like it was
right.
that kind of feeling. Like when I was pregnant, I knew it was a girl. I knew it before we did the testing. I knew it. I had that same feeling after things had started happening. I was like, I have a brain tumor. So when they actually called and told me like, hey, yeah, you do, go to the ER right now. I was in shock, but I wasn't surprised and I wasn't angry. I had kind of known it for the few weeks leading up to it because what else could it be?
Right.
So, but I actually think I was more angry about my blood pressure still being there after the weight loss than I was about getting diagnosed with a brain tumor. Um, because I had worked the high blood pressure, the weight loss was supposed to fix it and it didn't, but it ended up being linked to my brain tumor. It was causing the swelling in my brain was causing the high blood pressure throughout my body. So knowing that now makes me feel way less angry, but back then I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that that could cause high blood pressure.
Me either. And yeah,
Oh,
my doctor called, my primary was like, you know what? After we found the brain tumor, he was like, you know what? I can almost guarantee you this is the cause of your high blood pressure. It might go down once that thing comes out. And sure enough, it did. I have not been on medicine since they took the brain tumor out for high blood pressure. It's totally normal and perfect now.
oh, that makes me so, I mean, I'm just so happy that like you were able to get it removed, that you overcame it, like you healed. And then, the blood pressure, if that was upsetting you, like that went down too. I'm just like, nothing warms my heart more than just, like hearing all of those good things for you.
Thank
I
you.
can't, I can't imagine. And so, was there anything that you took away? Like brain tumors are so crazy and you can't control it, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
something that happens. And so,
Yeah. Yep.
and I remember you first telling me that the like healing process from the surgery was super intense and another thing you had to like figure out and like retrain your brain to do things. So, was there anything that you kind of like took away from that or learned about the like sort of power that you had over quote unquote controlling your health
Yeah.
um through like retraining your brain how to like function back up to speed again?
Yeah. It was the biggest thing that's come from my surgery is I am so thankful that like who knew when I was going through my health journey that I was going to be put in a situation where I really needed to be in my best health possible because I was going to have to undergo brain surgery. Like there's no way to know when something like that is going to happen. I can't imagine getting through that surgery and that recovery still being 240 pounds, being morbidly obese. I don't think I would have survived recovery had I
Mm.
not lost the weight. Like recovery from that surgery is hands down the hardest thing I have ever gone through in my life. And I don't think I would have survived had I not gotten healthy before that got thrown at me. And so
Mm.
now I tell my biggest piece of advice for people is take advantage of the fact that you have total control over your diet and your exercise. Like that is in your hands. You are the one that controls that. You never know when you're going to get handed something like a brain tumor. You don't get a say in the matter. There's nothing you can do about that. So be your healthiest at all times for when stuff like that happens. Because I can't imagine going through that, still morbidly obese, high blood pressure, everything. On top of that, I don't think I would have survived it.
Yeah, and doesn't high blood pressure also, I could be totally wrong, doesn't it make undergoing surgery like a little more dangerous?
Oh, 100%. It makes it
Yeah.
so much more dangerous. High blood pressure and obesity in general, going under the knife, your risk flies up. That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
like I'm so thankful that I didn't have that on me anymore, like all the weight because it just makes surgery risky.
That I'm so glad that you were able to like get to that place of just like feeling healthier and like more in control of your body before going through something like that. And I think what I've been discovering through sort of like my own personal journey and like talking to people on this show is that there's like a fine balance between feeling as if you're in control of your health and feeling as if you like can make these changes and then also not getting really like let down or frustrated when you're not seeing the things you want, like you with the high blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's trying to like gain quote unquote control but isn't feeling it yet or doesn't feel that empowerment yet? Like how did you realize that was like the biggest thing for you was just thinking like, I can honor my body by like doing the best things I can for it that I can control.
It takes a depth for some people. It just takes longer for that mental switch to like flip, where you're chugging away at trying to get healthier. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're not seeing the results you want to. Stop focusing so much on the results. Be proud of yourself that you are doing something. You're working towards that goal that you have. I think as soon as you start feeling proud of yourself, it makes you want to do more. Like, don't be
Mm,
so focused on seeing results right away. It's not an instant thing. It's some Your health is something you have to work out forever. You can't just stop all things healthy and think that you're going to be healthy forever. Like when I lost the weight, the work didn't stop there. If I just stopped doing everything I was doing, it would go back to the way it was. It's a forever journey, your health. Like you just have to keep working on it. You can't just you're never done with it. And that shouldn't be frustrating to people. You should be excited and glad that you have control over that. You can control your diet, you can control your exercise. It's in your hands. And if you work hard at it and make yourself proud, you're going to want to keep going and keep
mm.
feeling proud of yourself.
I really resonate with that. My like friends and family still are cracking up like all the time that I've become this like fitness lover because I was notoriously I never worked out when I was younger. I like hated sports. I was like the theater friend, and I just like I was never in shape. I couldn't do it. And now I'm like, hey guys, like, who wants to do a WayBetter game? Or like, I'm gonna go ride my parents' Peloton bike. And they're like, who are you? But it feels so good. And
Because you
I
feel proud.
you feel really proud. And even like when the workout's really hard and you're like, ah, but you showed up and you did it and you sweat
Yes.
and you're like, that's just a moment of like, I tried it. I made some progress, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels awesome when you start sticking to it. Oh,
Sorry.
poor dog. No, that's
Yeah.
okay.
The garbage truck is going by, so they're going to go psycho. See if I can
That's all
get them
right.
here.
I actually, I'm at my friend's house and her dog, she was warning me, she was like, he really hates when I'm on a Zoom call. So like when you do your podcast, you like she was like, you have to pretend you're on the call at first and like fake talk to someone so that he can freak out for a minute and then you can start. But he's been fine. He didn't did the
Aw.
little test and he's just chilling in the other
That's
room.
hilarious.
He's kind of
A dog is like,
like
pay attention to me.
um okay. So yes, so I feel like we just segued into another thing like related to what we were just talking about that you mentioned to me where you arrived at this realization where like in your 20s like health for you was all about what you wanted to look like and how you thought you looked, and then now it's like overall health and like feeling and everything like that. So I guess my question is like, when did you realize that difference for you and feeling like it doesn't matter anymore what the aesthetic is, it just matters like that I'm okay and I'm healthy?
Yeah, that actually didn't happen till pretty recently. Like I hit when I started my weight loss, I wanted to feel better, but I really wanted to look different. I knew what I looked like before I gained the weight. I wanted to get back to that. And there's nothing wrong with people wanting to lose weight for their appearance. That's totally fine. Whatever your
Totally.
reason is. And I hate when people try to, you should be doing it for your health. You should be doing it for whatever reason you want to.
Yeah.
So I'm totally for people who want to lose weight just to look better, go for it. I hate when
Yeah.
people get shamed for that. I just had to talk
Yeah.
about that real quick.
No, me too.
So
I
yeah,
mean, because
it
it
totally
ultimately
was.
helps your health. Like it's
Yeah, you're still getting healthy, but yeah, you can want to look
yeah.
better. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I did want to look better. And I probably stayed there for the first year of maintenance. It was, yes, I felt better. Um, but I was happier that, I could throw shorts and a tank top on now and not be like, oh my God, is everybody looking at me? Am I the biggest girl in the room? That was nice. But it honestly wasn't until after my brain surgery that something switched and I was like, I want to make my health better. So it wasn't until after surgery that I think because of how weak I had gotten from the surgery, because I had to sit on my couch for 3 months.
Mm,
I couldn't do anything. I had to relearn how to see. I was relearning all these things. So there was no working out. Um, it was like I had spent these 2 years working so hard on fixing my overall health and nutrition. And now I had to fix my brain. So it was a weird change in dynamic to go from being nutrition and exercise focused to now, okay, you have to slow down. Whatever fitness levels you were at prior to surgery, they're gone. The slate has been wiped clean. You've had to sit on the couch for 3 months and let your brain heal. You have a giant metal plate in your head now. Like, you have to be careful. I
mhm,
couldn't do the things that I could do before.
mhm,
And feeling that way just made me, it was like something clicked, and it was no longer, I didn't want to eat healthy and work out anymore for how I looked. I wanted to feel strong after feeling weak for so long after
mm,
surgery. I just wanted to feel strong. And so for the first time in my whole journey, the scale no longer mattered to me. And I truly never thought I would get there. The scale is a great tool. Like, I believe that it is not the devil like everyone says, but I finally realize now everyone who says that that number doesn't matter, what they mean when they say that.
yeah,
I just wanted to feel strong and healthy. I didn't really care if the scale was a little bit higher. I just wanted to feel good, and that's where I'm at now, and it's just so much more comfortable.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I'm just so happy for you and like everything that you were able to go through. I think you're so incredibly strong, like physically, obviously, because you're amazing at working out, but also just like being able to do this. And I had a concussion once, and I never thankfully had to go through brain surgery, but like retraining your brain and like getting your functions back, it's so hard, and
It's
it's like,
so exhausting, and
yeah,
it's one of those things that had I not gone through it, you never know. It humbles you, and it makes you
yep.
realize, like I said, to be thankful that there are other things you can control.
Yeah, because you feel so powerless. You're
Yeah.
like, my brain
Yes.
isn't letting
That's the
me
perfect
do the
word. That
things.
perfect word. Powerless, nothing I can do about it. Just yeah, powerless is the perfect way to describe it.
Mm. So, if you could look back on all of this and say like one thing to yourself, what would it be?
I think I think I would thank myself and just
Hmm.
be like, just, you're like, you did it, you're doing it. I'm proud of you, and thank you for doing this, because look what happened and what could have happened had you not just kept going. So, yeah, I think I would thank myself.
I think that's awesome. And I think that, you know, younger Jen who wanted to set a good example for her daughter, I can't imagine that you are absolutely not doing that every day. So I think that you accomplished everything you wanted to do.
Thank you.
Okay, Jen. Well, I have a couple rapid questions for you, and then you are free to go. You can bring your
Okay.
dogs back inside. Okay, so what is one health myth that you used to believe was true?
I used to think that you had to exercise to lose weight. You must do it. Totally 100% not true. Exercise is amazing for you. I highly, highly, highly encourage it. But if you were like me and the thought of starting a new diet and exercise at the same time totally overwhelmed you, focus on your nutrition.
Mm,
Your nutrition is going to be how you lose weight and how you stay healthy. Exercise is great. It's so good for you. I recommend it, but you don't have to exercise to lose weight. I lost my first 50 pounds with zero exercise, just nutrition change. So yeah, that's a big one that I was convinced, like, if you don't exercise, you cannot lose weight. Totally not true.
that's a good one. Um, Speaking of nutrition, what is your favorite healthy recipe and why?
So I'm super picky. I eat like a 5-year-old. So I'm not great at healthy recipes, but one thing that I found that I truly enjoy and has been a big hit with my followers is like a lower carb bread. You could do a wrap, you could do just like any low carb bread as your bottom, and
Mhm.
light Alfredo sauce and just shredded grilled chicken. And you can do Italian seasoning on it, salt and pepper, and you just air fry it for like 5 minutes. And it's this beautiful toasty chicken Alfredo pizza, basically. It's so good. It's super filling and it takes like 5 seconds to do. And it's probably been the most popular recipe with my followers that I've
Oh,
just done and shared on my Instagram.
that sounds really good. Okay, do I need an air fryer? I feel like the air fryer
Oh
is
my
like
gosh.
the hot ticket item that everybody has, and the more I see it, I'm like, wait, I think I need that.
You needed one 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Like, that's when you needed one.
I missed
It
the movement.
You did, you did. You are missing out. I like I said, I eat like a 5-year-old. I make almost everything in my air fryer. You need it. You can make like all these healthy things delicious, but they're not fried in oil. They're air fried. You need
Mm,
one.
yeah, I think I do. I I like I saw someone recently on social media who they were talking about like the salads that they make all the time, and they were like, I love breaded chicken. Like they're like, I can't eat a salad unless the chicken has like a little like crunch to it. And so they make it at the air fryer and they like air
Yep.
fry it. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, that looks
It's the
so
best.
good. That's so smart. I think I'm late. I'm usually kind of late to trends.
Amazon.
So
Get on Amazon and get your air fryer.
I'm gonna have to do that. Okay. Last question for you. I think I might know the answer to this one, but you obviously inspire so many people. Who inspires you?
Actually, it is my mom right now. My mom started
Oh,
her own health journey. She is down 50 pounds. She's
yay.
walking 4 miles a day or more just because it makes her feel better. And it's like, it's almost like I'm getting to experience what she did watching my journey, but now I get to watch her and be so proud of her and like cheer her on because she, of course, was my biggest fan through my whole weight loss journey. And to see her now take total control over her health at, the age of 60 something. I won't say it, mom. It's so inspiring. She's coming up on 60 something and it's never too late. And so seeing her do this now at this stage in her life, I'm so inspired by her every single day. She's made me like bring a few of my healthy habits back that I maybe let fall to the wayside, and seeing my mom walk more than me in a day, I'm like, like I got to do it too. So right now it is my mom who inspires me more than anybody else.
That's awesome. I love when you have like people close to you that you can like feel inspired by like that and look up to. And I think that's something to like aspire to when you think about doing this for the long term and getting older. And like I just met my friend's boyfriend's parents yesterday. We were like all gathering. It was his mom's birthday, and like I'm visiting them, so I joined in on the family fun. And his parents are, I think, in their 60s, and they've been so active like their whole lives. Like they're a really outdoorsy, active family, and they were telling me about like a trip they want to do when they can fly again, like to Europe when like COVID calms down. And they're like, we want to go to Scotland and we're going to go hiking. And like they were giving her like hiking socks and stuff for her birthday. And I was like, how cool is it that you guys are still like, that's what you
It,
want to do on
it makes you
vacation? You
want to
want to
do
go,
that too, doesn't it? Like you
yeah,
like
yeah,
this, you're like, I want to be like that when I'm that age. That's totally me with my mom. Like I want to
yeah,
be rocking 4 miles a day. Like it's nothing. Like when I'm
yep.
60 something.
Yeah, like I want the option to do it all. I want to do the vacation where you go and sit and have wine on a
Yes.
beach, and then I want to do the vacation where you like go hiking and you're
Cycle
60.
around Europe.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's cool. And if we can all like work to be that like healthy at older ages, like we're so lucky. Like we're
Yeah.
so lucky,
Yes.
and we're like blessed to have that control, as you said, and like we should just take advantage of it. It's so
Yes.
cool. Awesome. Well, Jen, this was really fun. I'm so inspired by you. I've learned so much from you. I loved chatting with you, and I will see you in the WayBetter app pretty soon, I'm sure. and we'll like see each other in the social feed or something.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun, and I'll talk to
Awesome.
you soon.